What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Z Podcast. When I say P, I mean profit. When I say S, I mean Sia. You dig it what I'm saying, baby? Now let's keep it moving. Follow the feng shui. You dig it? Bienvenue Nien Podcast Z, man. Welcome to the Z Podcast. And today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how perception, your perception affects everything. Your perception is how you view life. Your perception is also your mindset. And a lot of us have perceptions and mindsets about how life should be, how life should go. We all think life should go one way or another. And we all have different thoughts, opinions, words, and beliefs, right? We all have different perceptions about the world, but we all live in it. We all have different perceptions about the world, but we all live in it. And us living all on one earth, on one world together, we all have our own different perceptions, which means we're not having the same experience. If we all individually have our own experience on this planet, then your perception is the only thing that's keeping you from wherever you want to be in life. Your perception, not the person next to you, not the person behind you. Your own perception is what's keeping you from the other side of the fence to the other side of the fence. Your perception, let me give you an example. An elephant, right? An elephant may have been kidnapped from a zoo. Not a zoo, but an elephant may have been kidnapped from Africa, right, by a hunter or something, right? And they got the elephant, took it to a zoo, and it was a baby elephant, right? Just making up the story. It's a baby elephant, right? That baby elephant has probably been chained on a tree majority of its life because it's in a zoo, right? It's in a zoo. It doesn't know any other thing outside of the zoo. That is a perception. The elephant knows nothing else outside of the zoo because all it was taught was to think and care about the zoo. So if you know the elephant has not ever seen anything outside of the zoo, or the elephant doesn't know about Africa and any other animals, then that elephant is limited based off of its perception and what it knows and believes. That elephant only knows the zoo. So when you try to go talk to a person that only knows the hood, and you try to talk some sense, you might be talking some real stuff, some real shit. You might try to change the way that person think about you. You might try to influence that person to change the way they think about the hood because all they know is the hood, right? But some people listen, some people don't want to listen. So when you're dealing with perceptions of people, places, and things, your best bet is to validate somebody's perception. Because take it from me, I've tried to change people's perceptions, and I damn near gave up so much of my energy just to try to influence them to think and believe differently. Your best bet, instead of trying to change people's thoughts and opinions and what they think and believe about themselves, you might as well just stroke their ego. Because if you're dealing with a person who doesn't want a solution, you may have a solution to that person's problem, right? They may real deal have a life problem that they've been struggling with and they need help with, right? If they're not looking for help, they already think they know the answer. And if they already think they know the answer, then you trying to tell them otherwise is not going to work. So with that being said, if you really want to deal with perceptions, your best bet is to figure out what is it about yourself where you think and believe your perception is limited. Because the world is big enough for everybody. The world is big enough for at least a billion people on this earth to live on. So that means the world is big enough for other people to hold your perception. The world is big enough for other people to see your perception. And do you think and believe the world is big enough for your perception? Because if you have a small mindset or a limited perception, you're going to think that the world is something to be afraid of. You're going to think that the world is inferior. So what that means, if you fear the world more than you enjoy the world, then you're going to think that your perception is unchangeable. You're going to think that you can't change your situation. And you thinking you cannot change your situation is a perception. Easier said than done. I've been through real life situations before where I felt like I couldn't change nothing. So what I did differently was just stay consistent with whatever I wanted to change. If I want to change something right now, if I want to change my finances, right, that means I better be trying to create a source of income. I'm on this podcast right now for y'all. If I do it consistently, it might change something. But that doesn't mean my perception is limited. I'm increasing my perception by doing something like this more than one time so that way I can change my situation. Now imagine I wasn't on this microphone right now and I currently was thinking and believing that I couldn't change my situation. That means I would have just not been doing what I'm doing right now. I would have probably not doing anything about my situation. It's a lot of people who know they need to change their situation, but because they think and believe that their perception is small, that they think they're powerless to their situation. And I've been in situations where I felt powerless before. But that doesn't mean you quit or give up because you think and believe so. There's always more room for growth. Before I get off this, I want to say another example, right? I used to work at McDonald's at one point in time. And there was this coworker. He was an older guy. I was young. I was a younger guy at the time. You know, I'm still is young and stuff. But point I'm making is, he was like, "You want to succeed in a job force? Outwork everybody. There's always work to do." So what I'm saying with that is, there's always room for you to increase your perception, but you just gotta look for it. You can't increase your perception if you're not actively looking for a change. If you're looking for things to already confirm what you're thinking and believing, you're not increasing your perception. You're just looking for things to continue to limit your perception. And challenging your belief is not easy. It's not challenging what you think and believe is not easy. It's like you have to like sit with being uncomfortable with what you don't know. And if you're willing to be uncomfortable with what you don't know, there's gold on the other side of that. So with that being said, I'm getting ready to end this podcast. Y'all have a good one. I should